Hey friends, welcome back to the channel. It is pretty late, but what's new? I came down to make a tincture actually. I know most of you know that we're moving, but I came across a box of some dried herbs in Mylar, and I'm gonna show you here in a second what I'm gonna be doing. But I feel like the best way for me to remember these herbs is just to put them in tincture form. So yes, I'm creating just a little bit more weight for our move, but I feel like it's important to get these going because tinctures usually need to sit, and I think some of you like when I share this type of knowledge. So welcome if you're new. My name is Tori. I make preparedness videos on a budget. We like to keep it real. We like to keep it pretty positive, but the current state of affairs has me a little frazzled. So I'm going to try my best to keep this level-headed and just chit chat with you while I make this tincture. So my knowledge of herbalism, I get this question all the time, like what made you get into this? What made me get into this was curiosity. I was just curious to know if I could heal myself and my children with plants and things that I can grow in the garden. Honestly, I said this in the last video, but my favorite movie in the world is Practical Magic. I noticed that they were healing with herbs and flowers that they were growing in their attached greenhouse. I know it's just a movie, but it got me thinking. So I got into Native American medicinal books when we moved here to Colorado, and I got that at one of the libraries down in Montrose, Colorado, where there's a huge Ute Native American population. So I got really intrigued by that type of healing, and that is where most of my knowledge comes from, I guess, where my interest comes from. And then I went from there. So I knew I wanted to get a certification. I went through the Herbal Academy just because it was available to me and it was easier for me. But Colorado has many programs that you can go through, that you can actually go to classes and work with nature in the Rocky Mountains and work with a team of very talented, educated people. So I wanted to go that route, but it was just not in the cards with me staying at home. Eventually, I'd love to do that. I would love to get into native species of Pennsylvania. If you didn't know, we're moving from Colorado to Pennsylvania very, very soon. So yeah, that's basically the back history of it. And some of you share this, but I just don't trust some of the medicine that is on the market right now. I know there's a time and a place. I think modern medicine can be life-saving and healing for some, but for me, I am thriving on this. And then the last question I always get is, you don't have any credentials. And yes, that's true. I don't when it comes to modern medicine. I'm not a doctor, no, but I will say I have my credential now in herbalism. And you know, it wasn't easy to obtain. It took me a few years actually to really hone down on it. And then the last couple of months I finished the course, which I was really happy that I did that. But I will say experience is everything to me, especially in this world. So I was my own evidence, if that makes sense. So a lot of people ask for scientific studies and all of that, and I will say something that I've been posting recently is follow the money on those scientific studies. See who they're funded by and see that that may be a conflict of interest, and then also see that a lot of entities that fund those studies also cause major illnesses, and then poof, they have the magic pill that's going to fix it. So that is basically how I lay it out to people that start to question and people that want to heal naturally. But I do have to say, at the end of the day, you know, I'm not your doctor. If you have significant health impacts, then you need to make sure you know what you're getting into when it comes to herbalism. I have not really shared my health journey and some of my ailments, but there's a few. So you do have to do your research with this. If you need to consult with a doctor, please do that before you take any content creator or influencer's advice. I did say this on the other channel the other day, but I wanted to reiterate over here. So today we are making, long story short, I know that's going to be a theme here, but honestly, I had some ideas of how I was going to spend my night, and watching a political debate was not one of them. I'm exhausted. I'm exhausted mentally when it comes to that, and you know, I don't feel like I can absorb any more information, especially from the media. So I'm not going to be doing that. I'm going to be making a healing tincture, and I was happy that I found this one. I found passion flower, so I don't know when this was actually harvested, but I know that I grew it 3 years ago, and that was the start of my garden. So this was back when I thought I could remember everything that I was putting in tinctures and mylar bags, and silly me thought too confidently, and I didn't put the date. So I know that this is passion flower. I know that it's dried. Passion flower is incredible for cycle health. If you suffer from any emotional regulation during your cycle, I'm talking to females out there, it's great for anxiety. It's great for sleep patterns, but it is something that you would have to look into if any of those items affect you and you're taking something for it, because passion flower is strong and it really is an incredible flower. I'll insert a picture right here, but it's very beautiful. It comes in many varieties. You know, I talk about this a lot, mainly on Instagram, but I always have someone flying in like a bat out of hell in the comments saying, well, actually, first of all, if you start a comment with actually or well, I'm probably going to get annoyed right off the bat, because I don't vibe with the know-it-all personality. I try my best, but I don't vibe with it. So I believe that everyone should have a seat at the table. If you are like an expert herbalist, then maybe sit there and try and not speak so condescendingly to, I don't even know if that's a word, to everybody out there. And this is a great time to mention an herbalist that I respect and love, and her name is April of She Is of the Woods, and she just really laid it out for me and gave me that push to get the certification, although she believes that you don't truly need one. But she was running into a lot of herbalists saying that you have to do it in a certain glass, you have to do it at a certain light, you have to harvest at this exact time. And I think that's what really scares people away from healing by themselves and growing these herbs, growing these plants that truly have so many powers. And with that being said, you know, there are plants out there that can be harmful, and she doesn't mess with those, and you know, either do I. So I truly believe in her. I will drop her channel in the comment box below, but I am not the channel to have an herbalist come on and say how many things I'm doing wrong. I don't see it as critical necessarily. I just see it as annoying, honestly. So I always have someone coming in like a bat out of hell saying, well, that color of passion flower, for example, is not as medicinal as the white variety of passion flower, something like that. And it drives me insane. It drives me absolutely insane. I believe that most plants have medicinal powers. That is why they are on this earth, for us to use, for us to heal. And, you know, so that's my little soapbox for the day. It's not a one size fits all. You know, it doesn't have to be whatever they taught you in some certain book. Trust me on that. I have used these herbs, and that is why I like to share this information with you, because it was relatively easy. And April from She Is of the Woods always says you are smart enough to do this, and that's really the kick that I needed, because I had such a hesitation, such an overthinking mindset about herbs and you know, everything that it encompasses. So I will say that I'm gonna just chime in on what she says. You are smart enough to do this. Trust yourself. Don't overthink it, because it is just basic. So if you ever are stumped on something, you could ask me, but again, I'm not really an expert. So you could reach out to someone that you know and trust. Plenty of knowledge out there. I get questions about where I get the medicinal books, and I'm just going to talk about that, and then I will move on to actually making this tincture. But I got mine at a local library, like I was saying, down in Montrose, Colorado, and that was helpful. They were having a 25-cent sale. So I encourage everyone to look at their local libraries if you have the time. You know, browse thrift stores. They always have great books. Sometimes you can even find them on like the marketplaces and such. I know some of the reservations, if you're into Native American healing, might be giving them out. Last time I was down in Montrose, they have a Ute museum down there, and they had a lot of free things that they were giving out. So look into that. And then, you know, I have some linked in my Amazon store if you want to support me in that way. Awesome. But I'm all about, you know, saving money. So definitely go to the library first. So passion flower, amazing. I obviously have it dried. I like fresh plant matter, but you can do tinctures in, you know, just about any form. You know, you could have fresh or dry. If you're doing fresh, you can put the plant all the way to the top here, but because I'm doing dry, I'm going to go halfway, and then I'm going to cover it with my 100 proof vodka. And you could do brandy with this if you wanted to, but I like vodka. I do that with all of my tinctures. The only time I ever do like a whiskey is if I'm making a vanilla, or if I'm making something hearty in the winter that I could just add to a tea, if that makes sense. So like a cold and flu blend or what have you. But you do it halfway because the plant matter is going to expand. I enjoy the amber glasses. Again, look into thrift stores, look into yard sales, you know, just about anywhere. If you can't find any, they're linked in my Amazon store. And then I just do a lid. I switched to wide mouth canning preservation methods a long time ago. I don't really have any you know, classic mouths, so I enjoy the wide mouth, but you can do whatever you want. I get questions like that all the time. That was me, you know, when I first started this, just overthinking that it had to be perfect, and it just doesn't. The amber is great because you're trying to keep the light out of the jar, but if you have clear, that's totally fine. You're just going to want to store it in a cool and dark place. So it's awesome. I think this is a really great process. It smells earthy, you know, I don't see any issues with it, but let me see if maybe I can get it on here for you. But this does have the whole plant in there, stem and petal. And mine have purple and pink and white in the flowers, but I've seen all different varieties. So I enjoy passion flower. I think it's great. You could also, if you don't want to make this into a tincture, you could make this into an oil. I've seen people do like an infused oil and use it for skin health because your skin is awesome and it absorbs a lot. So you could use it like that. You could, of course, use it in a tea form if I haven't said that. You could grind it down and then take it in a capsule form if you wanted to do that. You really just have to work with your body. And I get questions about dosages. It depends. It really depends on your lifestyle, your sleep patterns, your mental health, the way that you're eating, other supplements you may be taking, the place in the world you are. It takes so many different factors. So that's something you have to experiment with yourself. But I always encourage everyone to start knowing their body. I cannot confidently sit here and say I know my body fully, but I've taken the time to just really encourage my mind to just give those small pauses to say, hey, this made me feel like garbage. Hey, this made me feel amazing, and then wrote it down and went from there. So I'm going to fill this up halfway here. If I haven't said, I hope you all are doing great. Trying my best to get these videos out for you. A lot of you tell me to take a break. I promise I will. Getting on camera and talking to you makes me feel good, so I'm going to do that. But anyways, I have just about halfway there. Again, it's not perfect. I have Everclear. You know, this is 190 proof grain alcohol, so I usually try and do 100 proof. I don't like frying. That's what I call it. I don't like frying this plant, but you know, sometimes you just have to do what you have to do. If you can't get 100 proof because of the state that you live in, then just get 80 proof. You should be fine. You'll just want your tincture to sit on the shelf a little bit longer. So this is going to sit 6 weeks, but if you're using 80 proof, maybe 8 weeks. But honestly, you can set it and forget it. Some people say to shake it. It really doesn't matter. You don't need to shake it. Mine's covered and good to go. And yeah, I'm just going to label this so I don't forget what it is. I'm going to take it with me on our journey. Some people put parchment paper here or wax paper. I'm not really sure which one they do to prevent, you know, rust and things of that nature. But I haven't had a problem with that yet, knock on wood. Hopefully, you that works. So passion flower, again, really incredible. And if you're new to tinctures, I'm not taking shots of this 190 proof alcohol while taking care of my children. These are micro doses. You can actually find more alcohol in a glass of orange juice or certain fruits. Microdosing is very important to master. So look into that. They're just little tiny droppers that I just put in my water. I do 1 to 2 drops to start off if I'm introducing a new plant, and then I move on from there. If I don't really feel anything within the hour or two, then I will move on. And by feel anything, you're not feeling some sort of alcohol reaction or inebriation reaction. You're feeling whatever you're trying to cure kind of slowly start to ease away. So if you're using this for pain, maybe you're not feeling that ache anymore. If you're using this to calm your mind, which is what I do, you're not feeling that anxiety anymore. Of course, it's still going to linger, but this isn't made to just fix everything with one dose. I feel like you really have to get your body used to these patterns. So just like any supplement, you are going to want to keep this routine going for at least a month before you go and quit on it. And yes, 100 proof alcohol can be pretty pricey. Growing plants can be pricey, but it's your health we're talking about. So see it as an investment. I think herbs and plants are so incredible and so healing. I talk about them so much. So, if you're tired of hearing it, I apologize, but passion flower, amazing. It is going to be great for this move. I can't wait to get settled, but it's going to take a lot for my mind to do that. And if you are new here, I've kind of talked about it. I've had anxiety for a very long time. I didn't have the best high school experience. I had a lovely childhood. My parents weren't together, but I wouldn't say I'm a victim of divorce. I've been seeing that all over. No, I had 2 loving parents, and I just had a unique upbringing, I guess. So, my home life was beautiful. I wouldn't say my anxiety was caused from that. There was a lot of moving around and a lot of different things to get accustomed to. And I think that is part of my anxiety, this just like will to rush. So me quitting my job, I resigned from teaching 2 years ago now, and coming home to be with the kids and tending to this homestead and this slow-paced lifestyle, it took a lot out of me, and it's going to take a while to heal from that fast pace. I will not say I was chasing a career. I was an elementary art teacher, and I loved it. I thought it was fun, but my district was implementing a lot of things that I didn't agree on, and I felt that it was harmful for kids, and I didn't want to be part of it. And I wanted to be with my own children, and I was really craving that slow-paced lifestyle. So all that to say, in high school, I didn't really have a good time, and I feel like a lot of my mental health issues and anxiety came from that. It's that just like age gap of finding yourself, and I didn't. And then into college, I was making very unhealthy decisions for my health, and I've been forever recovering from that. I met my husband, and I can honestly say, I know this might sound sappy, but he saved my life, and I'm so incredibly thankful that we stumbled upon each other in a art critique. If you're new here, we met in art school. So yes, it was that really started my healing journey, but I have been on a postpartum journey for the past 5 years. So that's been a little tricky. That threw not a wrench in my hormonal healing, but it has been tricky to get accustomed to. And then, I'm not making excuses, but a global shutdown and a very divided society really doesn't contribute well to how I handled my mental health, but I'm getting back on track. So I was hoping that my openness would encourage you all to see me as a person if you're new here, and not just like some random content creator. I have such a very positive, beautiful community in the comments. So if you are new, I'd love it if you introduced yourself. We are a welcoming group, and there's so much valuable information every time I read the comments. Recently, recently the channel has got a little popular, so we have an influx of comments, and I'm so grateful for that. But I've just been reading through some just really important tips and tricks from lifelong homesteaders and lifelong people with a preparedness mindset, lifelong herbalists, and just an incredible crowd. So many walks of life. So all that to say, if you're new, we would love it if you came on in and introduced yourself. So passion flower tincture is done. I'm going to label that. And then I also wanted to say that I found hawthorn berries. So I'm super excited about this. It will be fun to have. I feel like that is my biggest ailment that people talk to me about, and that is going to be blood pressure issues and like high cholesterol and things of that nature. And I understand that that is seriously an epidemic in our country, and there's a lot of factors that can cause that. If any of that is you, I would encourage you to see some sort of natural doctor, a functioning medicine doctor, to get your levels tested. They're all about the tests in that world, but it is always needed. We always need to check our levels. So I encourage you to look into that, and then really look to your diet and lifestyle and see what you can do to change that. I hear genetics all the time. Well, genetics cause this. I think we've been conditioned to say that. Of course, I don't know any of your personal health journeys. Some of you have shared some things, but that is something to look into as well. Genetics could have caused it, but it doesn't mean that you can't reverse some of these symptoms. And I always encourage everyone to get to the root cause. So hawthorn berry, my favorite way is in a tea, but hawthorn berry can be a little tricky. You know, if you're diabetic, if you have anything going on with your liver, if you have an alcohol dependence, hawthorn berry might not be something to just jump right into. I would encourage you to check with your local natural professional. I'm not really sure what a doctor would say about this, but anyways, hawthorn berry, great in a tea. I've seen people grind it down and take it in capsule form. I've seen people just pour alcohol over it, just like I would do, but I like to keep the dried berries. Passion flower I grew, hawthorn berry I got from Mountain Rose Herbs, I believe, but you can also get them from natural grocers if you are near one here in Colorado, and they have a great selection of bulk plants, bulk spices and herbs, and it's an affordable price. I really trust natural grocers. I think they were the first store to come out and say that they would not be carrying a peel, and that really took a lot of you know, consideration for them to make that statement. If you didn't know, a peel is something that a big technology billionaire is backing. I would encourage everyone to look into that. APEEL. I've done videos on it before, but anyways, I thought it was great that they came out and said that. They do a lot for the community. I don't know, you know, too much, so don't ruin natural grocers for me if you know inside scoops, but I think they're a good store. Sometimes they're pricey, but sometimes you can get like grass-fed butter for $2, and they have all these like random sales, and I take advantage whenever I can. So Redmond's real salt is there for super cheap as well if you don't want to order from that website. But hawthorn berry, once again, you can put that in the capsule form if you wanted to. Let me get one out so you can see. It's like a pink hue. Let's see. But, whoa. Basically brown. Like little pebbles. I don't know. I wouldn't say they have a smell now, but you can find them a lot of places. A lot of people forage for them. I'm not too much of a forager. It depends, because so many areas here in Colorado at least are developed and sprayed with pesticides and other things that are, you know, impacting our soil and the plant itself. So it's not something that I do too much, but in Pennsylvania I know of a few untouched areas that I would like to, you know, look around in. And recently a video went popular on the channel, and that was about gardening basically, and what came out of that was a lot of people saying you need to grow in a greenhouse because of our air and the water and the rainwater, like everything. And I get that, but I love gardening outside, so I'll probably be doing a little bit of both. So that was connecting to foraging because you know, of course, if you're in an open field or forest, there's going to be rainwater and air, and that is another hesitation of mine. So let me know your thoughts on foraging in your areas, and maybe you have a way around actually knowing if that area has been sprayed. So yeah, I think that's it. I think that's all I wanted to cover. I've really just been kind of coming onto these videos randomly when I can with the best quality that I can. I'd love to be outside, but it's loud, and you know, I'm momming and homeschooling 24/7, and we're also packing our life up. So I know a lot of you understand that, but if you're new, I did want to explain that. So thanks so much for being here. I hope you're well wherever you are. As always, stay adventurous, stay creative. Bye, y'all.